you everyone for joining today for our Power Hour on More Momentum. If you are joining us for the first time, we love these sessions to be super interactive. So feel free to use the chat to ask questions and we'll keep an eye on it as we're going through. You can use the reactions. We love the reactions. Certainly no like thumbs down or sad faces, but everything else, thank you for the little cheers there. And yeah, like I said, super engaging, keep it interactive. So please chime in. If you're a brave enough soul, we'll ask you to even like come on video and talk to us. We know there's a lot of you that've got expertise out there. So by no means is this just a Kayla and Sasha show, but with that being said, it is my absolute honor to introduce you to Kayla. If you don't know her, she has been in the industry for a while now. She works at First International Bank and Trust. Sorry, I had to look at it because that's a long set of words.
Long.
As a senior mortgage advisor, she's a loan officer. She's also known as the Mortgage Meteorologist for advising clients on how to navigate this tumultuous time. But I say she should also navigate us through this tumultuous time to the other side of this market. Has a huge passion for education, and that shines in everything she does, but has had tremendous success with social media, which I think it's been a hot topic for some time, but it's still something that we all can use tips and ways to improve so that we can truly engage in our community and build those partnerships, whether with realtors or clients or friends that we make along the way as well. So super excited to have Kayla here. She's in Fargo. What's the weather like in Fargo today, Kayla?
My office is shaking because the wind is so like strong. I see there's a North Dakotan on this webinar today. Nate, I'm sure it's very windy where you're at, but my gosh, I am so excited though because I get to go to Scottsdale next week to go to 95-degree weather, and that's lovely compared to this 50-degree weather with seriously the winds are like 50 miles per hour. So anyway,
That's
I hope
pretty.
I hope it's warmer where everyone else is.
Well, and I'm in Scottsdale, so I can tell you it'll be a very nice showing for Housing Wire. I'm not ready for the heat to come yet, but I'm glad you're ready for it.
I'm so ready. Bring the heat. I love it.
Before we dive into the content, you and your husband rescue pit bulls, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, we
Talk to
have
me about like what started that.
um we got married and he said, "Do you want to get a dog?" And I'm like, "Where we don't have a fence. Where would it sleep like outside?" I literally had no idea. I grew up on a farm growing up. I had no idea like dogs stayed inside, and all it took was one rescue, and it's your own. My gosh, we just fell in love. It became our baby, and then that led to two, three, four, and I am on the board of directors for Homeward Animal Shelter in Fargo. We just absolutely love just the ability to give these poor dogs that came from the streets. Like my one dog came from the streets of Tulsa, another came from North Carolina, and it's like it's a way to give back, and it just fills our souls. So to all the dog moms and dads,
Yeah, same.
they're babies.
They
So
are. They're the best. I will say though, mine would have made cameos on this session if I wouldn't have put them out in the casita with my husband.
oh.
So so cute.
Yes, they got dressed up for St.
How did
Patrick's
you
Day.
get them to all stay still for that photo?
They are so obedient and so sweet. They just listen. I'm like, "Can you stay,
Oh.
please? Like, stay." Like, and treats, of course, but they are just truly just such great dogs.
Oh my gosh, I'm in love. This is
So,
great. So
yeah.
did you just pull this off right now?
Yes, I did.
I'm like,
God,
"Where did
you're
this
the
come from?"
best. She's like the magician behind the scenes on all things.
I love it. Yeah, so happy belated St. Pity's Day, y'all. Happy
Yeah, there you go. St. Pity's Day. I love it. All
Aw.
right. Well, let's dive into that's great content. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm sure everyone on here is
Social
loving
media.
it. Yeah, exactly. So speaking of social media, I think a lot of people in our industry still question whether or not it's the thing and whether or not they need it and if they should be leveraging it, and would love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I think at every point in someone's life, they've said, is social media for me? Do I really need to do it? And I think by now people are starting to catch on that this is necessary for you to grow. If you want to stay where you're at and you're cool with what you're doing volume wise and impact wise and connections and engagement wise, it's not for everybody. But if you're looking to grow your business, no matter what business you have, or grow your connections and meaningful connections, social media is a must. And it used to be dancing and entertainment, and it still is, but it's such a powerful tool for you to truly connect and grow. And if you're not using it, you're just missing out.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And I'm sure everyone has these stories, but personally on social media, I've had both professional and personal reconnections that I wouldn't have otherwise had without it, where
Oh,
people reach out. And I had one girl, my father had dual citizenship here in Australia, and he used to ship me off to Australia every summer and force me to go to a girls' school there, it was more fun than it sounds. But one of them that I hadn't talked to since I was like 16 years old found me on Facebook and reached out. It's like, I'm pretty
oh,
sure that you and I went to school together in summers out in Oz. And it was like so great to reconnect. And then like same thing on the work front. People are like, hey, I didn't know you were in the industry, and then ended up reconnecting that way. So it has such a life force behind it, whether it's helping us grow our business, reconnecting, old friendships,
ah,
staying in touch with family that could be abroad, et cetera. Like there's just so much dimension to it. So
mhm.
I
It
love
really,
that you talk about that. And I know a lot of people when it comes to business worry about, how like I some of us have that natural personality and are happy to be on social media, and others are like, it's really not for me. And
mm,
like, I don't want
yeah,
to come across too pushy or too salesy. And I'm not really sure like how to craft the content in a way that feels authentic. So like
mhm.
what do you recommend when people are worried about either I don't feel comfortable or I don't want to be too salesy or pushy?
I think everybody's going to have that. And as you know, I'm a loan officer, so there has to be a level of professionalism that we remember. Like, not everybody, will be professional. I was just on a webinar yesterday, and there was another panelist that was talking about how he just wants to go on and drop F bombs all the time. Like, that's how he really talks. And, one of the other guys said, well, you should do that. And I said to him, I said, I don't think that I would get on and do that for my position because people are trusting me with their biggest financial, decision. However, it doesn't mean, who I am around my mom is probably different than who I am around my husband sometimes, or my best girlfriends. We kind of just evolve a little bit. Same with like your colleagues. I would say to anyone that's just wondering about your authenticity, that word is thrown out a lot, right? But it's true to the core that you need to be yourself, because that is how you will attract the kinds of people you want to work with and work for. And so I would say incorporate yourself. So as you guys saw, I had my pitties on a post. If you follow my Instagram, you're going to get traditionally one of three or four things. You're going to hear about my dogs. You're going to get to know that I am passionate about dog rescue. And what that does is it creates connections. I talk to people about how they can become a foster and give back. You're going to find I talk about the Fargo weather a lot because apparently it's just really entertaining and people like to know like what it's like, yeah, in Fargo and how cold it is. So I'll talk about that. I'll also talk about the lake home that we have and the time and energy we put into that. So I talk about things that are not just mortgage because it just creates conversations and people get to know me, Kayla. So I don't think you have to go out and be just raw and talk about your deepest, darkest secrets, but don't be afraid to share who you are in your heart and your soul. Maybe you love playing basketball and you're on a league team. Maybe you coach your daughter's soccer team, like whatever it may be. Don't just get focused on here's my product, here's my rates, here's the, it's just so it's numbing.
Yeah.
Be yourself, be raw, but you by no means do you have to go into like telling everybody about what's going wrong or right in your life. So I hope that kind of sums it up.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that there is something real that people are craving right now, right? Because a lot of
Mm,
social media for, I think, a while was very much influencer driven, still kind of is, right? And
yeah.
there's more of like the side of people that you're like, is this real? Right. And so I think people
Mhm.
are starting to feel that, like, I just crave that raw, authentic, genuine feel,
Mhm.
right? And we know the old statement of people buy from those that they know, they like, they trust. And that is not going to happen if you're not putting yourself out there and being raw and being genuine and allowing, like, being vulnerable enough, really, to allow people to connect to who you are. And I love,
Yeah.
that you share about the things that are passionate for you. And to your point, like, maybe not everyone will resonate with the content, but the ones that you will want to do business with,
Mhm.
and where things will flow more naturally, are going to be attracted to those messages, whether it's the lake home or the pit bulls.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I love that.
and you have to just remember that you aren't going to be forever. And if you, it's not about the followers, it's about the connections you make and the people you help. And And I'll take it one step further. It's kind of like, well, what do I post? Because a lot of the questions come like, well, all I can think about is to post my closing or to post a picture of, hey, under contract. Start to think about the stories and the whys behind it, not the products, but the solutions. When you start to talk about the story of you helping a single mom get into her home for her children. I had a single mom of 6 kids. I did not post the house. I posted a story about how she was denied at other companies. She had lost faith, lost hope, and we talked about how we got her from here to here. And we talked about her journey. And you can start to incorporate the story, that resonates so much more with people, and you can touch their hearts versus closing day, we did it. It's a different, I mean, please still do that. That's awesome, but get a little deeper, and that's how you can be a little more authentic too.
Yeah, and what an inspiring story, right? I mean, we talk about the American dream a lot, but we
Yeah.
don't always hear the stories that are like the American dream was it's a survival piece for that mom, right? Like she
Mhm.
needs to take
Yeah.
care of and provide for those 6 children, and like that's
Mhm.
a deep, meaningful impact that you're having on not just her life, but those children's lives. And like, gosh, I mean, that gives me chills,
Uh-huh.
right? So I'd
Yeah.
rather see that than the picture of the house. Like, who
Well,
cares?
right.
And I
Yeah.
noticed myself like scrolling through and like kind of going past those ones that look more
Yep.
flat because it's just not as
Yep.
personable, right? So I
Well,
love that.
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
see a question in the chat from Victoria about tips for growing a Facebook page following. Do
Mhm.
you have any thoughts there?
I think I would lump Facebook into any platform. Anytime you want to grow a following on any platform, what I did or what I've done in my past is I start to follow those that I want to be around. It's kind of like when you think about being in a room around people that you want to level you up. Start following whether it's other loan officers or realtors or financial advisors or friends or leaders, whoever you want to surround yourself with, follow and start to engage. Start to have conversations, like, share, comment. If you see something that they did, don't just like it, start to comment. And what you're going to see naturally, organically happen is people are going to start to follow you back. But also, you're going to want to post and share because a lot of these things where people start to follow you, they're going to see you and you need to be consistent. So if you're posting content that they continually will see on their reels or their posts, they're going to be like, "Oh, I feel like I know this person." And
Mhm.
if they see something that, is near and dear to them, like the story about I just told you, helping that single mom, I mean, they are going to start to follow you because of the content you're putting out there and the person that you're putting out authentically.
Yeah, I love that. Seeing another question, let me read it. So Dana's asking, what's your opinion about quality versus quantity on posts? So let's start there and then I'll ask her second question.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I think when we look at quality versus quantity, we say be consistent. I
Yeah.
think if you get so stuck on quality, you're just going to get in your head. I mean, I use my phone. I don't have a fancy camera. There are some people that have videographers and it's beautiful work. You can do one or the other, but at the end of the day, the person on the other side seeing it in their home, when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my phone at home, I'm not like, oh, that didn't resonate because the quality of the video wasn't great. No, but I still think, you still want good lighting and you want to make sure that you're speaking clearly and you get your point across. But I wouldn't get caught up in the big, spectacle of having professional work done.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like there's that comment of progress over perfection, right? I mean, I think from a quality standpoint, yeah, you want content that resonates, whether it's like you said, sharing more of the personal passions or sharing something relative to the work side, but you don't want to put fluff out there. So certainly don't
Right.
have someone else write your post for you. Try to do it yourself if you can, because you want that consistent voice to come through. But also, yeah, maybe don't post your breakfast. Like I don't think anyone really cares what you ate for breakfast, no
Right.
offense. Um,
Right.
but
I agree with that.
don't overthink it or over rotate on trying to be over quality as well. I think, that raw content that just comes through is always going to resonate really well, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
I'm seeing another one that says on Facebook, business pages becoming less relevant. It seems like there's not as much engagement on my business page versus my personal page. It's a great question.
I love this actually. I've been thinking this myself, Todd. I have. I'm like, I've actually started to go away from my business page. My Instagram is linked to one or the other.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that a lot of people weren't following my business page as much as they were my personal. and we just talked about people do business who they know, like, and trust. And I thought if I'm really educating my consumer, if I'm really putting value into the world, I'm more concerned about that than someone being like, "Gosh, Kayla posts a lot about what she does for a living and how she makes an impact." And so I'm finding I'm getting more traction by posting to my personal than my business. That's just a personal opinion. Sasha, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And so for me personally, I have my own business, and on LinkedIn, I do have a page for it. I don't on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, I do, because if someone were to find that business and want to know what it
Yeah.
does, there's a spot for it as a resource, but I don't post from it.
Mm,
I post from myself because, again, I think your personal brand, is where it starts. And the
yeah.
business is just kind of the infrastructure behind.
Mm.
So I agree with you. I'm not sure that it's necessarily, I wouldn't say you don't have to get rid of it, but I don't think you focus as much energy or attention on it. And I think the personal page matters the most.
Well, I noticed I was just posting my business only to share it on my personal. And I'm like,
Yeah. And
feel
it's
like there's a
redundant.
lot, but I will tell you there's businesses out there that need to like they
Sure.
live and breathe by their Facebook page. But if you're wondering for this scenario of like a loan officer, I think you could probably pour into more of your personal.
Yeah, totally. And it's hard once you get a following with personal to shift people over to a business page, and not
Mhm.
you. Most of the time
Yeah.
I've seen it's not worth the effort. So,
Well, and
um,
to that extent too, I actually took my personal Instagram and
mhm.
I just made it all Kayla Calendar Mortgage, and that is who I am. And I don't even use my other one anymore because I also wanted that to be a one-stop shop because I felt like I want to reach the masses and connect with anybody, whether you're a high school friend or a future employer or whoever you are.
Yeah.
And I condensed that into one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that strategy personally myself too. So, I first of all, I gotta commend the audience. You guys are awesome for sending all these questions, so you don't have to rely on my boring questions. So I got another one from Norma asking which
Yeah.
social media platform brings you the most leads and business?
Mm. You know, that's tough. So I started on LinkedIn in 2014. You guys, 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, like I'm dating myself. But that's where I have my most, like the most following.
Yeah.
But then I get a lot of DMs in Instagram. And then I have people that see my reels on Facebook. So to me, it's like, it's kind of sprinkle, sprinkle, splash. Like, I think you need to
Like
be everywhere as much as you can. But I think it just depends where your following is at, where you're posting the most, and where you're able to engage. Instagram is great because you can post reels and videos and static images, but yet you have that ability to like and comment and also DM. LinkedIn, yes, of course. But LinkedIn, I don't put as much personal because I don't have my stories. Usually personal is where I do my stories and that creates engagement. So I would say it's kind of a toss up for me personally. Just this is just a Kayla thing between LinkedIn and Instagram.
okay. And then she also talked about, do you feel like social media is really more about showcasing of your business, or are you actually seeing the leads and business generating from it? So maybe talk a little bit about both there.
You know, I feel like I have really taken my social media up in the last few years. And people always say to me, I see you on social. But when I look at my leads, I can't say that half of my business is, oh, that's because of Instagram. I got a direct lead. That person wanted an FHA loan. But what I see is this is somebody in my city who I kind of maybe know. I'm going to give you an example. She messaged me and said, hey, Kayla, I'm moving to Colorado. She's in North Dakota. I see you finance all 50 states. I saw a Facebook reel, but I also know you because I was friends with your sister. And I think you and I are connected on Facebook. So I think we need to remember that social media doesn't have to just be about a direct lead, like, oh, hi, I want to get a loan. It's, oh, I've seen you there. And oh, I thought I saw you at that event. Or maybe like Sasha, how you and I met. Like
Yeah.
we were at a conference and then you're connecting afterwards. You might run into somebody at a chamber event and then you start to follow each other. So remember that it's not just about, hey, I made a post and someone came to me for a loan. It's about a lot of different avenues and a lot of different connecting pieces. It's just like a billboard in your town. If you have a billboard up here and there and everywhere, you're going to be more relevant. This is just a free option. And the more that people see your face, the more that they remember what you do. They're not going to forget if you're constantly being seen.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's brand recognition. And I
It
love
is.
that comment of sprinkle, sprinkle, splash, because it is
Mhm.
like you've got to figure out, where is your audience the most and spend your probably the most time there, but then still sprinkle in the other areas, because the more people, to your point, see you over and over and over again, they're going to start to connect the dots. That brand recognition hits. And when they go to say, oh, I'm going to move, or I want to
Yeah.
refinance, or I just want to, like, I don't know if I want to refinance because rates are still really high. And like, I'm not as, much of a financial whiz when it comes to my personal finances. And maybe you could help advise me on, like, is now the right time? And if I'm going to consider it, what do I think about? And when you've seen somebody and you know them and you trust them and like them, you're more likely to
Right.
reach out to them. And it doesn't really matter which platform if you've been doing that sprinkle, splash. I love that. I'm going to use that now.
Well, and think about it too, is when you have a realtor, for example, they give out a couple names, and that client, what are they doing? You guys, they're going to Google you. So think about, and I thought about this too, is when I looked about my conversion last year and I looked about where these clients came from. There's nothing better than when I have a realtor give a name and the client goes, I follow her on Instagram, or I went and followed you because now I'm relevant. When they can pull me up, they can see my Google reviews, they can see who I am. Oh, she rescues dogs, so do I. They're going to look you up. Let's be honest. When someone gives me a restaurant name, when I go to Scottsdale next week and I have a restaurant that I'm going to go check out, I'm going to pull it up. I want to see what the reviews say. I want to see what, they're posting. And so you have to remember it from that angle too. It's like, it's just an extra cushion, an extra level of validity that you're giving your client.
Yeah, 100%. And you're more likely to show up if you're posting in multiple places, right?
Yep.
Love that. I don't see any other questions in the chat. What are some examples of, I know you've shared a little bit, but like success, either tips or stories that you've had where social media has really been kind of the cornerstone of that success?
So I do this thing. I actually wrote about this. I wrote a chapter in Kyle Draper and Brian View's book, Rethink Everything You Know About Being a Next Gen Loan Officer. And one of the things that I always think about is where I'm at today. And I call it the 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon effect. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of this, but there was this like game you would play, bear with me, where you could name anybody, any actor in Hollywood, and within 6 connections or less, connect them back to Kevin Bacon. And so when I think about being here today, let's do it. Let's do the connection piece, because social media is so much more than just about going viral and getting leads. It's about so much more. And for me, it's about engagement and connection. So Sasha, I'm here today because you and I met at Momentum Builder. We met at Momentum Builder because Mickey told me that I need to connect with you.
Yep.
Mickey, I met when I flew down to Atlanta, Georgia, because I went to meet a guy named Skip, who I do a podcast with. And while sitting at dinner with Mickey and Skip, Mickey and I realized we were connected on LinkedIn. And then I'm like, well, if I wouldn't have been at this dinner, I wouldn't have met Mickey. If I wouldn't have been having a podcast with Skip, I met Skip on LinkedIn years ago. He's in mortgage. We started connecting, sharing, liking. So I think about, I'm here today. I just did the 6 degrees or less because of me being on LinkedIn, posting about mortgage and talking about the hardships and the great parts of mortgage and connecting with someone else in the industry. And now, because of that, I have a podcast with him, and I'm sitting here today with beautiful Sasha and talking to you guys. So when I think about that, like, think about if you are here today, you and I might connect on Instagram after this, and you just never know where that will go. So when I think of success stories, that's always what I think of.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. And I think when you're the type of person, and if you're in the business as a loan officer, I don't know what other leaders we have on the call, but like, you clearly have a knack for sales. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. And therefore you have a good personality, and you like to be in front of people one way or the other. That is such a natural network effect, right? And I love that concept of, you just don't know when you meet people and where you meet them, where and how that might come back full circle. And so, it's also a nice reminder of like, always be kind, always be thoughtful about how you're expressing yourself, because you just don't know when you randomly meet somebody at the grocery store because you bumped into them, that they might not end up finding you, eventually buying a home from you, for all you know.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely reminder too, that like the world is
It
a
is.
lot smaller than we realize sometimes.
It is. You just never know how one connection. I always think about how you met your significant other. And if you wouldn't have been in that one spot at that one time, social media is just like that.
Yeah, No, I love that. And again, it goes back to that sprinkle, sprinkle, splash. Like if
Sprinkle,
you're
sprinkle,
here, you're
splash.
there, you're everywhere. Like those
Yeah.
connections are going to get far less than 6. You'll get down to 1 or
Mhm.
2 degrees of
Yeah,
connection.
right. You really will.
Um, so for people that are still like not really diving into the deep end with social media and they're sitting here getting all this information and they might be like slightly overwhelmed and going, okay, cool. Now where do I start?
Mhm.
How would you advise them on where to begin and how to begin?
I think we always get in our heads a little bit about what do I post and will it be relevant and will I get likes and how many people will view it? I totally get that. The best advice that I have for just getting started is most people get like stuck on what do I even talk about? And so my best hack for you is to think about the questions that you get that you're surprised that people don't already know because we're in the industry, right? We're in it, whether it's people not knowing what earnest money is or people not understanding that the home inspection comes first. Like, think about these questions that you get daily or that you're surprised, like, wow, I just thought people might know that. Think about the simplest things because we have to remember the consumer does not know as much as about this as we do. They just don't. And so I still, I think it was a couple months ago, I'm like, people know they don't have to put 20% down. I myself was thinking this. And I'm like, I never hear that. And then next day, someone said, I have to have 20% down, right? And it just made me stop and think like, just because I posted once about it, 6 months ago, doesn't mean I can't redo another post talking about it. So I would just say, don't be scared to repost things that you've already talked about, but to just get simple on the easiest, smallest questions that you get in your industry. And I think for us, it's the questions that we take for granted that we just assume people know.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. I mean, you think about consumers and they don't know a lot of the
Mhm.
details that go into originating a loan and going through that process to even qualify for a
Mhm.
loan. And I know it seems like common sense for people that are in it every day because you're like, I know it like the back of my hand. But you heard me talk about the joke on stage at Momentum Builder of like the borrowers showing up to send in their final papers and they show up in a brand new car with dealer plates and you're just like, oh my God, did you not understand the homework
Mhm.
assignment, right?
Right.
But they
Mhm.
don't, like they, and you can't let any of those small things go because it could be the like start from the beginning all over again headache that we've all had,
Mhm.
whether you're in the loan officer seat or not. Like we've experienced it, we've seen it, we've watched people go through that pain. And
Yeah.
you just can't underestimate the knowledge that they have. And I think it's great to be someone that's not just providing that relevant content, but like you said, repost, reuse, recycle, because
Yeah.
these are things where you're not buying a home every day, and so people are going to forget, or you're going to have new customers that didn't hear that post 6 months ago.
Yep.
And that's a nice way to make life easier on yourself too, is you already have
It
great
is.
content, go back and recycle it and refresh it.
Well, and also, it's really easy to get in your head. When you have this thing in your face, showing your face, it
Yeah.
is intimidating. And the best thing I can say about that is we all have insecurities, right? But the moment that you stop and say, what I have to say, what I have to give to this potential client, this single mother of six, this person viewing me on the other end, if I can get over the way I look and the way I sound, and I messed up that word, and I probably, could have had better lighting, the moment you get over that and realize that the person consuming it, the person that you need to educate means so much more. When I have that in my head, it's a
Yeah.
lot easier for me to just hit that post button and just get over it. It's not perfect, but it
Yeah.
sure as heck helped somebody.
Yeah, I love that. And I do short videos and I used Shreddit Media, so a little shout out to them
Mm,
to help do the edits that
love
add
it.
like all the fun, emojis and lines. But same thing, like I'll laugh at myself in a video if I trip on a word. And I think it brings again that realness of like we're all
That's
human,
true.
right?
Mhm.
We're not meant to be like the camera perfect ready person that gets you're not a newscaster. You're not getting judged
Mhm.
on like how
Right,
articulate you are every
right.
second of every day. You're just out there trying to build these relationships and be authentic. And
Mhm.
thanks for the extra shout out, Dana, for Shreddit. And you can make it fun with apps like that, right? I mean, depending on the type of content and your audience, like you can make it more professional or you can make it more fun and silly. And I love how many tools are out there right now to help make it easier for you so you don't even have to think about it. Like I just
Yeah.
shoot the 2-minute video and then I'm like, cool, you guys make this look good because I'm not going to make it look good.
Right. And I can say like that is so nice to have that it at some point you have to delegate to elevate. If you're wanting to get out
Totally.
content and videos, you've got to delegate to elevate. But one app that I really like is Captions. If you don't have
Mm.
it, I think it's like $10 a month. And sometimes I use it. Sometimes I create my reels within the platform like Instagram. But
Yeah.
what I'll otherwise do is I'll use Captions and it'll put captions on it, adds emojis. It's a cool tool. There's a lot of really cool AI stuff in there too, but even something like that, it's worth $10 a month. Think if you got one deal from one video, I think that $10 a month is worth it.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna pay off for sure.
a little bit.
I don't have any other questions. Any other questions from the audience?
I like the shout out for Shred It. Love.
Yeah. I'm gonna start calling on people. So give me some questions while I let Kayla share anything
Yeah.
else that she feels like she wants to share.
And I think too, a lot of people just don't even know where to start, like which platform to start with. If they said, what platform would you just start with? I would recommend Instagram. That's my personal opinion,
Okay.
because I think it allows you to reach the funny, great question.
Jimmy,
um, I
you read her mind.
yeah, he did. Of course, Jimmy did. If you guys don't know Jimmy Ryan, go follow Jimmy. But I would say IG because I think that the ability for you to do, stories, DMs, you can do, like I said, your carousels, your photos, and it's so easy to engage and
Yeah.
tag people.
Yeah.
I truly believe that's kind of where it's at.
Speaking of tagging people, I have such heartburn over this one. Like, I know we have a think tank for Momentum Builder, which is a group of people who volunteer their time to really help, continue to grow the brand. And I know I can tag all of them in a Momentum Builder post without even asking permission. And they're all going to know, they're going to understand, they're going to reshare, they're going to repost. But I worry sometimes about like tagging people that I haven't asked for permission if I can tag to try and get it out there more, also knowing that if I do, it will create more awareness. So like, what's
Mm-hmm.
your thought on when and how to tag people versus not, and when and how to ask for permission versus forgiveness, maybe?
I've actually been thinking a lot about that. I'm in a group where we're constantly tagged and you're getting notifications.
Yeah.
I think if it's something that's really, I mean, because you can turn your tags off, like you can turn that
Sure.
notification off on some of the platforms. Um, I think it just depends what it is.
Yeah.
Because I'll have people randomly tag me and they did a post about like that chapter I wrote. I just truly believe it's about the content itself and because sometimes it's a lot of notifications you get, Sasha. It's like this,
Yeah.
this, this. And sometimes it's not even something you'll share. But I think some people want to just tag people so you can say, hey, I'm thinking of you, or hey, you know what I mean? But it's kind of a slippery slope. I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of
Mm.
like use your best judgment and then,
Yeah.
see how it goes, try and
Yeah.
experiment with it.
Yeah.
A really good question from Troy. I saw a visual recently and I wish I was good with numbers. I'm terrible with numbers, but general was like, gist of it was showing the different generations and the percentage of home buyers in each. And like for so long, at least for me, like I was watching the baby boomers be that big, huge container of, and then it transitioned and really now it's millennials. And he's asking, given the demographic of a lot of the buyers right now, particularly first home buyers, is TikTok worth it?
Here's the thing. Right now, what is the average age of a home buyer? It's was it mid-30s, I think the last stat was. A lot of people on TikTok are not there yet. They're Gen Z. They're
Yeah.
not ready. I'll be honest, I don't think they're ready to buy. I think that we're seeing a lot of challenges with home ownership, especially as Gen Z. That is who's on TikTok today. But they will be at that point in the 30s, they'll be at that point at some time. So I think it's 1,000% worth it because at some point, those people that are on TikTok are going to be ready to purchase their first home.
Yeah.
I personally think it's worth it. I was at an airport about a year ago and I was going down one of those, I don't even know what you call them, where they move, it's like a treadmill, like it takes you,
Oh
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? You don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
run
yeah.
like a
An
flat escalator. I
escalator.
don't know.
Yeah, it's like an escalator, but it's flat. Somebody
Yeah.
in the audience put it in the chat. I don't
Yeah,
know what it's
whoever
called.
invented that is rich. So I was on there and I had a group, it was just a bunch of people with their backs to me, their seats were, and I was just watching and everyone on their phone. I was shocked at
Yeah.
how many people were on TikTok. I was like, and it hit me, and I'm seeing people of all ages and sizes. So I
Yeah.
think that people are starting to become used to that more and more. A travelator? Travel?
I've never heard that word in my
Wow.
moving walkway. I think I can't remember who put it in the chat. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, that's what it's called. But a traveler? This like feels
Interesting.
very meteorologist. I don't know. I feel like we need a mortgage travelator
Yeah.
that can take us into the upcycle.
I love it. Caitlin's like moving walkway. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that better.
Right. Nate, you love TikTok. Are you willing to come on? Are you a brave soul? We're going to bring you on. I want you to tell me why you love TikTok and how you're using it, because I don't use TikTok. I'm scared of it.
If you guys don't know Nate, he's great at TikTok.
Nate, you're on the spot. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but you should.
Fun fact, I used to work with Nate. Hi, Nate.
Are you there? You're on mute, buddy. You got to at
Oh,
least come off mute and talk to us about why you love TikTok.
he's probably on a call. He's probably
He's like, damn it, why'd you call me out, lady?
slinging deals.
All right, we'll give him a minute. Maybe he'll come back on. Any other, at least I'm making the audience laugh. That's a plus.
Yeah. We
Any
try.
other thoughts or tips or any questions from the audience? One
Gotta
second,
change
got to change
one
phone settings. All right, no worries. We're holding on for you, Nate.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. What other questions might you guys have? Like, now's the time.
Yeah,
I know.
ask away.
It's always
We've
scary.
got the mortgage meteorologist who's far
Well,
more reliable than the weatherman.
okay,
So
yeah, hey, I'm here for you. Don't have long hair and wear lip gloss in Fargo, North Dakota on days like this, because you will be
that's a good tip.
seriously.
Oh man. Well, while we're waiting for Nate, like what are you most excited about for Housing Wire?
I am excited for just the connections, for seeing, I can't tell you how many people I haven't met in person
Yeah.
that I am so pumped to see. Like we
It
said,
sold out yesterday. I don't know if
I
you saw
know.
that.
And how many
Yeah.
people are attending? Wasn't it like 700?
700 or 900. And it's a big group.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm a little nervous. Like that's a lot of
Yeah.
people, but I'm like, bring it. Like
Yeah.
it'll be fabulous.
I love it. While Nate's still working on his phone, Victoria had a really good question. Does the bank that you work for, First Trust International, regulate your social media?
When you say regulate, like, do they like watch me, or do they like like, do I have to send them my posts before? No, I do not have to send them my post. I think my bank has understood that. How do I say this? I know better than to post some things that we shouldn't. So they, will check in, sure, but they don't have to go through, compliance or anything like that.
Yeah. Do they
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say they don't provide posts or have any type of like program or influencer program, no.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Nate. I do know, Shred It, Social Coach, and so many others that are out there are starting to build into their technology, their apps, things that will catch and flag words that are like, hey, don't
Yes.
use the word free, right?
Yep.
And things to be careful of. And they also give you prompts to help you. So if you're like, I'm not really sure what to chat about, it's a nice thing to leverage. So definitely look at the technology that's out there that can help you with that. Hey, Nate, you made
Hi,
it.
Nate.
Hello, sorry about that.
Hi, Wheeler.
Fine.
How are you?
So good. Good to hear your voice. Thanks for coming on today.
Well, glad I could make it. I've got a 1-year-old sleeping in my arms
Oh,
right now, working
oh,
from home. So,
I love it. I love
So
it.
cute.
Well, and thanks for chiming in on TikTok.
Yeah, tell us
yeah.
what you love about it.
No, I honestly think so. I make, TikToks through work, just kind of fun educational things. Uh, and I just think that it's one of the best video creators in terms of quick tools, cutting stuff, editing stuff. I just think it's super easy to use. And I mean, I can make a TikTok in 10, 15 minutes. I mean, it's nothing crazy long. I try to be a little humorous in mine,
Yes.
make the mortgage process not seem as intimidating to people.
Mm-hmm.
But
Love that.
yeah, that's just what I've always loved about it, is the simplicity to use, and that you can make something relatively fast.
Yeah, I agree. It's got some good tools, and add sound, it's delete clips, add clips. It's pretty user friendly. And there is something to be said about when you create a video within a platform, there is conversation that you may get more traction and followers because the algorithm recognizes you make it within the platform. So,
Hmm.
I mean, if TikTok makes it easy, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And I like what you said about the Gen Zs, like maybe they're not buying just yet, but they will eventually. And if they see posts around why homeownership is a way to not just get to American dream, but to set a foundation for yourself, to start to build wealth and really get your life in a place where you feel financially stable, which I think, I mean, I didn't buy a house till I was 35. I was moving so much for work and I didn't want to manage a property, so I never did. But I think if somebody would have sat down with me and been like, yo, like this would be a really smart move for you, you should really do it, and explain to me why, I probably would have bought sooner. I just
Yeah.
didn't. And I think there's a lot out there that might be in their 20s and like, to your point, you don't have to have 20% down. And they might be moving towards, career steps where they're going to get that first job that really boosts their income level up where they can afford to buy. And if you're on platforms and you are putting that content out there, maybe it makes them second guess and think maybe I should be considering buying a home.
Yeah. And it's just the ability to be able to educate through your phone instead of
Yeah.
having a first-time home buyer seminar at, on a Sunday and you just have so many more tools at your fingertips to share that with your potential clients.
Yeah, I love that.
I
Nate,
agree.
while we have you, any other fun tips or thoughts from you?
I don't know. I mean, Kayla tends to post a lot more than I do. I'm kind of I should probably pick it up a little bit. I tend to post like a TikTok once a week, so I think I gotta
Okay, some is
kind of
better than
logged on
none.
to kind of figure out a little bit more how to just post on social media and use it to grow. So
Yeah. You know what? If you're consistent once a week, that's better than not at all.
100%.
Right? So like I know a lot of people will say, either consistently post, whether it's a few times a week or people are crazy and want to post multiple times a week. I think that's oversaturating. I mean, multiple times a day, excuse me. I think that's a little oversaturating, but to each
Yep.
their own. But whatever you kind of set the tone for, I think it's helpful to stay consistent with. And if you know that once a week is what you can commit to, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
To someone just, okay, Jimmy's coming in hot. To someone just starting out and doesn't want to overwhelm themselves with several platforms. Jimmy, were you listening earlier? She said Instagram. Which platform should you go all in on first? Kayla's vote is Instagram.
I would say Instagram. Yeah. I think it just encompasses everything. And you can also, if you post on Instagram, but you
He
can
really
post.
wants you to say Facebook. That's why he's asking.
Okay, so here's the thing, Jimmy. You can set up your Instagram to post to your Facebook. So there you go. So yes, Instagram to Facebook. There you go. Jimmy, do you love Facebook? What's the
Right? Maybe we should let's promote
Jimmy
Jimmy,
on?
Sonia. Bring him on. Nate, go take care of your little baby.
Bye, Nate.
Thank you for being here.
well, thank you. Enjoyed the call.
Perfect. Jimmy, come off mute and tell us the Facebook. What's your obsession, buddy?
I double promoted him, so he's gonna come on camera too.
Okay.
Well, I'm not camera.
You're not camera ready? Come on. I
Prove
recently
it.
I'm literally-
literally
do your
recently
hair, Jimmy.
interviewed for a job. And if the person was on right now, they would know. Coming like out of they were literally like, hey, can you get on a call in 5 minutes? And I was like, are you kidding? I was like, I literally just got out of a shower. I look like a wet rat. I have no makeup on. They're like, we don't care. We want to talk to you. So I don't care whether you're camera ready. If I can interview with executives for a job looking like a wet rat, you can come on camera.
Oh, Jimmy.
I have workout shirt on. I literally am stuffing my face with like some lunch, and no, I'm not camera ready. I look, if I'm gonna come on, I'm gonna be in studio with a sport coat on.
He's gonna look.
We gotta be styling.
Unbelievable.
But look,
you won't let go of your brand.
All I'm saying is with Facebook, I would choose IG too. However, I think that whenever I post to Facebook, I get way more reach. I just don't like Facebook. I like Instagram better. But if I was going to do it, like if I wanted more reach, I think that Facebook might be a better choice. And I'm also on TikTok. I more waste time on TikTok than anything else, and don't necessarily get as much reach. IG is my favorite platform just to be on anyway. And I know I was kind of pushing you to say Facebook, but like
no, in your defense though, whenever I post my Instagram reels, I push it to Facebook and I get a lot of reach on Facebook. So in your defense, I would say that if you can go set up your Instagram to have it post auto to Facebook, I've heard that sometimes Facebook Reels will start to gain more traction. So I don't know if it's because, a lot of us have a lot more followers on Facebook. I mean, maybe not all of us, but I've had Facebook
I
since
do.
2005. So
Yeah.
you think about
Right.
how many more people you're also reaching too. So yeah, I love
I've
that.
also, I don't know about you both, but I have personally, now I'm gonna play the other side of it for you, Jimmy. You're gonna be happy with this. I get more comments on Facebook than I do Instagram.
Same.
Me too. Every
Yeah,
time.
and then that like gets more engagement, more conversation. I know Kayla, you really care about it's not just posting content yourself, it's also reposting other people's content, it's commenting on other people's content, it's engaging in conversation, asking questions, right? So people see you kind of again, sprinkle, sprinkle, splash a little bit everywhere,
Yeah.
not just posting your own content too. And I definitely see a
And I
lot of
think stories too. I
Yep.
get more reach
Stories,
sometimes on my Facebook story than I do on my Instagram, even though I'm in Instagram posting it from Instagram. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's 50-50 most of the time, but I
Yeah.
mean, when you add them together, it's a bigger number, but sometimes it's more people on Facebook, especially if I take my shirt off and do a, post workout, type of a thing.
Heck yeah.
Pro tip to dudes that work out. Just take your shirt off. You're going to
Waiting
get
for the day.
a lot more
Love that
views.
tip, Jimmy. Love that tip. Oh my God.
Troy's got some good commentary in here.
Yeah.
I think we already hit on the first one, but he's talking about utilizing live, right? Whether on Instagram or other platforms, and that the engagement and organic reach is really off the charts. And I do love that concept. I think when you go live, again, it's more organic, and people are gonna, buy it and believe it, because you
100%.
can't go back and cut and edit and paste, right?
Yeah. Troy's spot on. That's where the magic happens, is in stories. When people are DMing you or commenting or liking, like that's where people feel they get to know you, because they get to see that. So spot on to Troy, because that's exactly correct.
Yeah, I love it.
Me too. Same thing. If ever I get something that's an actual real, I would say like lead, or someone that is reaching out to do more than just like, I don't know, comment on something, it's from a story post. And a lot of times it's the stupidest things. Like I did a post about my numbers and how psychotic I am with like tracking all of my numbers. And it led to a shape demo. And it's a 20 user account, and it's just like that's from a stupid post workout story, that I just did on the fly.
Yeah.
Stories, I think, is where it's at. And I generally, don't you guys, do you watch more stories than you do? I scroll left to right than more so than I do, up and down.
Yeah, I would say I do. I kind of go through stories more than just this a lot, because I feel like you just don't really know what you're going to get. So
Yeah, I'm a little bit of both. I don't know why. I like sometimes forget the stories are there and I'll just start scrolling. But I do get a lot of engagement with stories, and I'm usually I do some stories like to promote this today, but oftentimes I'm resharing funny memes that I see, and I get the
Yeah.
most commentary from those than anything else.
yeah.
Right. I think I posted one yesterday that was like, I'm just going to put a sign on my set that says out of business and like call it a day, or like out of order or something like
Yeah.
that. And I got so many comments of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm so there too. Like, yes, please. Like, I need the day.
Could be
And especially
relatable
when we're in the down cycles, like I think the humor, the levity, I think Nate brought that up, using humor on TikTok, is good, because we're all also just humans in the trenches trying to just make our way. And sometimes we just need, some light content to keep it fresh.
because there's a lot of
I think
negativity.
just being genuine and your realist, truest self. Like Kayla, you get pretty raw sometimes on your stories, and like I feel like when people do that, I can just relate to you so much more. And why do I like you? It's because, hey, I saw your Easter presents for your dogs, and the dogs just ripping like what you bought them just totally to shreds. And then there's the after picture of like, basically your house is a complete disaster because it's basically stuffed animals been like
Everywhere.
literally murdered. Like it's a stuffed animal murder scene is how I would describe it. But like I think that's the type of stuff where like it's not business related, but I like Kayla because of this. And then it's like, hey, where do I go for a mortgage? It's the stupidest reasons why people are going to choose you. It's because of stuff like that really resonates. So if people are wondering like, what should I post? Post your stupid mundane stuff. You said don't post breakfast. I do like post workout breakfast. Here's a 300 gram protein you know,
You
breakfast.
won't come on camera
know?
to show me eating your breakfast, but you'll post a picture of your breakfast.
I am not camera ready. All right. I'm not. There's
Also, I
nothing
think
you can
I'm
do to
gonna give you
convince me.
crap for that for a long time, my friend.
That's okay. You can give me crap about it, but I won't regret it, not one bit. But like, I guess my point is that it doesn't have. You don't have. I think that everybody just overthinks it. Period. I think whip out your phone, hit record, and post. Like I think it just needs to be that, and you'll learn. You'll get better. And the first time you do anything, you're going to suck. So expect it to suck. Give yourself permission to suck, because I mean, like, Kayla, you've been at this for what? You said like LinkedIn since 2015 or whatever it was.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I'm sure if you look, if you at your first videos, they were probably like total cringe, and so were mine. I just so happened to start in 2011. You know, like anyway,
super cringe.
start.
But that's where the magic start. It has to start somewhere. And if they were super cringe, someone was probably like, "Poor girl, I better reach out to her. She needs some help." You know, like. But here's the thing: is what draws people to other people is that human aspect. Like Jimmy said, is when someone gets vulnerable on Instagram stories, I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, dang, I could relate to that. Versus like, here's my perfect life today. I mean, it's true, but yet we're scared to
100%.
do that. We're scared to be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Awesome.
input, Jimmy.
Great conversation. I appreciate the dialogue today. This has been a really fun session. I know we're running low on time, so I think what we'll do is just transition to the letting you guys know what's coming next week, which do not hang up yet, because I am super excited. Not only will I be at Housing Wire with Kayla, but I'm going to be interviewing with Dawn or Gino. I can't remember which one, but one of them, maybe both of them, Clayton Collins, the founder and CEO of Housing Wire, the day after the event finishes. And we're calling it the after party. We're going to talk about insights, highlights. I mean, if you saw the lineup, if you're not going, just go on and look at the agenda. Like CEO of Rocket, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are some powerhouse companies and speakers that are going to be at this event. I'm super excited. So please join us next week. Note, it is at a different time. We made an exception just because we really wanted to get this kind of like right after the event scenario happen. So it'll be at 1 p.m. Pacific instead of 11 a.m., which is our normal time. So just make a note of that. But we hope you'll join us for that. And then I know we have a series coming up with Dawn and Gino. We're not ready to post yet, but be prepared for that. It's going to be super intriguing. I'm really excited about this interview series with them. Also got a little discount code for you for Mastermind. So if you're thinking about going to the summit, definitely use the discount code. I know I can't see it because of my screen right now, but what is it, Sonia? MMB? Is that it?
MMB, MMS.
Yeah, MMB-MMS.
Okay, MMB-MMS. We'll
Momentum Builder Mastermind Summit.
And if you miss it, just, reach out to us, let us know, but, might as well take advantage. I know we can all save some money right now, but also continue to invest in our growth, and connecting with people. And then, please join. Speaking of Jimmy, join our private Facebook group. Jimmy is like the master there for us. But we definitely are live on Facebook for these recordings. And we also put a lot of offers in there for discounts, not just for events, but for coaching, etc. So definitely join our community there. We're on Instagram. You can download our app, whether or not you're on Apple or Android or other. You've got options there. The app is really a great resource. We put so much content in there, and it's from like the past 5 years. So like it's all, even if you don't go on there every day, like every once in a while, pop in there, take a look. There's videos, there's graphs that Barry shares, there's data that Dave Savage shares. Like we've just got so much good content in there. So definitely recommend you download the app and get some cool stuff.